COVID-19 cases continue to rise in New Hampshire and across the country. There is growing concern about what might happen for the holidays as people gather together. Thanksgiving is just a week away, and many people are asking for advice when it comes to having extended family over to celebrate and whether it's a good idea to travel, even within New England. So to answer some of those questions, we're joined now by Dr. Benjamin Chan, New Hampshire state epidemiologist, to talk about staying safe next week. Dr. Chan, thanks for joining us. First off, can you give us an update on where COVID stands right now? We know that we've had about 30% of all of our COVID cases for the entire pandemic just this month.
Yeah, so most states across the country are experiencing a new surge in this pandemic, including New Hampshire. You know, we began to see an increase in the number of infections going back to the beginning and middle of September, but it's really been the last 2 to 3 weeks that we've seen a dramatic increase in infections in New Hampshire. And the entire state right now is experiencing very high levels of community spread. It's not just the number of infections that are going up. We're seeing hospitalizations and the number of people dying from COVID-19 increase. The test positivity rate is going up. And so all of this points to increasing risk of COVID-19 within our communities.
All right, along with that, what are the health and safety recommendations for Thanksgiving celebrations, traveling, and having relatives over?
Yeah, so any travel and any social or family gathering is going to increase a person's risk for getting infected and spreading COVID-19. That can put families and individuals, but also communities at risk from COVID-19. And so for this reason, New Hampshire Public Health and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are recommending that people make some difficult sacrifices and choose to only celebrate Thanksgiving and gather with others that are from a person's immediate household. We also want people to avoid any travel where possible, even if that travel is only within New Hampshire or New England, because the act of traveling itself is going to potentially increase a person's risk for COVID-19. There are alternate ways that people can celebrate Thanksgiving, such as through video chat. It's obviously not the same, but these are some of the tough choices we have to make this holiday season.
All right, so if people do decide to get together and see each other physically, is there any ways that they can do that safely?
Yeah, so we absolutely understand that connection with family and friends is important. It's important for someone's emotional and mental health. But we want people to be safe and minimize the risks of COVID-19 if they choose to travel and if they choose to gather with people outside of their household. First, when people are traveling, they should obviously pay attention to other states' guidance and restrictions, such as, mask requirements, testing requirements, quarantine requirements. If people are traveling out of the state, they should be avoiding any public mass transportation like buses and planes and trains if at all possible, and then minimizing exposures to other public settings and making sure they're wearing face masks when out in public areas. And then with gatherings, the same principles apply that we talk about on an ongoing weekly basis. Keep any gatherings small. The more people, the more risk. If possible, look to host gatherings outdoors. And then when around other people, try and maintain 6 feet of distance, wear cloth face coverings. The same principles apply. We have been asked about testing, and can testing help, and can testing be used? And it can be looked at as one layer of protection. So, people can look to be tested for COVID-19 within several days before travel and then several days after traveling and returning to New Hampshire as one step to prevent COVID-19 risks. But it's important to keep in mind that's only a single snapshot in time. It doesn't completely eliminate the risks of COVID-19. And so it's still important for people to be practicing the social distancing and the face mask use and good hand hygiene.
All right, state epidemiologist Dr. Benjamin Chan. Dr. Chan, thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.